Good morning and welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our opening hymn.
There's going to be a lot of moving back and forth across this dais this morning. So, good morning. Welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm the Director of Music, Tad Koriath. My pronouns are he and him. Today, I and our fellowship choir are joined by Dr. Emily Koriath, the Director of Music at the UU Church of Boulder, and their Chancel Choir, for our Spring Music Sunday service. The singers that you see gathered here have been rehearsing for weeks to prepare for this morning, and it's been a lot of hard work, but I think it's also been a lot of fun, I hope. We always hope. And it's a great way to get to know each other musically and spend some time with our sister congregation up the road. So we hope that you agree that all this hard work and time and dedication has paid off today. We are helped by Julie Morris on the piano, and Jorge Palacios on the bass, and Paul Finkel is playing percussion for us. Yeah. Today's tech team is Deborah Mensch, Larry Sherwood, and Kathy Partridge. Yay. You are all welcome here today. In all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes and sizes, gifts and challenges that come together in our uniqueness, you are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all the ways you make your living, the places you are from, you are welcome here. With all of the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today. No matter how long you are away, nor how soon you will return, you are welcome here. Whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears today, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with a curious mind, a loving heart, and a willing spirit. We welcome you today. If you would like to view a simple order of service for today's service, on your phone, please scan the QR code, which is up on your screens now. If you're on Zoom, you can click the link in the chat. Our book for sharing joys and concerns is in the back of the sanctuary by the AV desk. You can write a brief personal note about what is on your heart today. You can mark whether you would like us to read it aloud later in the service, or you may share anonymously by not writing down your name. And if you would like to be contacted later by a lay pastoral care associate or neighborhood connector, please complete the form fully with your contact information. Our Sunday support person this morning is Margaret English, right back there, standing up, wearing the white stole. Yeah. Now, whether you are on Zoom or here in the sanctuary, let's take a moment to greet our neighbors. Oh, there's some seats up front. Okay. Okay. Good morning again, everyone. If you're looking, just so you know, there are a few seats up front here. If anybody's still looking for a seat, it looks like most people are seated now, but yeah, why don't you sit closer? Great. All right, we will now light our chalice. If you have a chalice at home, you can light it with me as Spencer, ta-da, lights our fellowship chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. Now I'll sing our bowl again, inviting it to draw us deeper into the present moment and this, our beloved community. Today, we celebrate the coming of spring through song. It is a service of thanks and praise for the return of life, for sprouting seeds. The qualities and metaphors associated with the season, renewal, rebirth, rejuvenation, reinvigoration, remembering, return, have long inspired poets, musicians, and religions and spiritualities. Notice that these words begin with re. They're all re words, indicating that something is coming back around, or something that once occurred stopped occurring and is now happening again. And when that thing comes back, it's often the cause for celebration, frequently with a newfound sense of gratitude and appreciation for what had been missing. The return of the sun, the return of leaves to the trees. The prodigal son comes home. Jesus was dead, but resurrects at Easter. The song our choirs will sing for you first. It's an arrangement that I made of Now the Green Blade Rises, a traditional Christian Easter hymn. I did this a couple of years ago. I remember it was the Easter service that Reverend Terry Schwartz, when she was here for a few months, she led that service. And she wanted a piece that was Easter, but I remember she said she wanted it to start somber and end joyfully. And I looked and looked and looked, and I didn't find anything, so I just wrote one. But the text to this hymn, of the traditional Christian Easter hymn, uses the metaphor of a dormant, buried, dead seed that then sprouts, comes to life again. Now the green blade rises from the buried grain, wheat that in the dark earth many days has lain. Love comes again, with the dead has been. Love is come again, like wheat that springeth green. So as we were practicing this song and singing a lot about seeds, seeds were just on my mind. And it just reminded me how these last couple of years, I've really been into growing flowers and plants, mostly indoors and mostly in my hydroponic growing contraption called a garden, Gardyn. I know Paolo Sparti, if he's out there, he has a garden. We've shared our enthusiasm for this thing. So some seeds, so I'd be ordering mail order seeds to plant in the garden. And some seeds, before you plant them or insert them into the hydroponic rock wool growing pod, they're recommended to be put in the fridge or the freezer for a time before planting. Maybe some gardeners out there are familiar with this idea of cold stratification. Has anybody heard of that before? I hadn't heard of it. Some of us have, yeah. So it's this cold stratification for these seeds. It's intended to mimic the seasonal cold the seed would naturally experience in autumn and winter, to trick it into thinking that it's been laying dormant under some snow for a while. And there are particular seeds that require this cold period, or they may not sprout at all. So for many seeds that sprout in spring, it's not as if they have simply endured the cold months or the unfavorable conditions. They haven't just survived until spring, when the warmth and sun would give them life. They actually needed the cold too. This is really interesting. After I learned that, I look out at things sprouting in kind of a different way. So this cold is as much a part of the seed's journey as the warmth and the sun. The cold is also a favorable condition. So a lesson that we humans can take from the cold stratified seed is that maybe it all counts. The good and the bad. The warm times are lovely, but the cold times may be just as vital. There's a slogan from the Lojong teachings of Tibetan Buddhism which says just this: take everything onto the path. Every single thing you encounter in your life is fodder for spiritual growth. The only thing that may be an impediment on your journey is your own refusal to accept the journey as it is. Only looking to the spring and not appreciating the winter. We sing about this in our hymn, one of my favorite hymns, number 128, not Now the Green Blade Rises, For All That Is Our Life. We give our thanks and praise. For sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss. For each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we give our thanks and praise. So this is the same reason why year after year Christians observe Holy Week, not just Easter. They remember that the Last Supper, including Judas and Peter's betrayals and Jesus' fear and prayers that God change his mind about Jesus' fate, they remember Jesus' death and the period of waiting and confusion before the resurrection. Many people say that the celebration of Easter becomes more meaningful because of these poignant and painful events that come before. Skipping straight to the joy feels somehow hollow without remembering that all that comes before it. So I invite you to hold all of this in your hearts, maybe in your minds, during this next piece that we sing, and remember that love will come again.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jen Weiler. My pronouns are she, her. And today, I would like to focus on hair. More specifically, curls. There is a phenomenon that often occurs following chemotherapy known as chemo curls. For those of you who have seen me this past year and a half, have seen me reveal my bald head, my new fuzz, my pixie style, to the baby curls start to spring from my head and slowly get longer and longer. For me, these curls have been a testament of life, rebirth, abundance, and renewal. Slowly, as my curls begin to loosen, which is common a year or so following the completion of chemo, I begin to feel yet another loss. I just love these little springy things. However, this is not the natural state of my hair, and there is sadness that these too shall pass. Yet it is just another lesson on impermanence. I think that with life, we often want things we determine to be good to stay the same forever, and for the so-called bad times to pass quickly. Yet, we can often look back on the challenging times as opportunities for deep personal growth and realize they were some of the greatest gifts we were ever given. And yes, for me, I can truly say that having cancer, chemo, and surgeries were each gifts on many, many levels. And the lessons learned from those experiences were only possible by going through the fear, the heart-wrenching pain, the loss, the struggle, in order to get to the other side with wisdom, gratitude, and the chance to begin life again with a renewed appreciation for each day that I've been given. May we look to nature as a reminder of passing time. May we look to the blooming flowers to know that we have been given today to start anew by seizing moments to continue to write our story. And in the end, if we can imitate the natural flow of life by not holding on too tightly and appreciate this moment for what it is, we will hopefully have a pretty good ride. And for this moment, I'm going to enjoy the heck out of my curls. Thank you.
Well, as Tad mentioned earlier, I'm Dr. Emily Koriath, and I use she, her pronouns, and I serve as the music director at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Boulder, right down the road. It's great to be back. The poem at the heart of our next piece was written by Sarah Teasdale in 1918. At the end of World War I, when artists of all kinds were struggling to make sense of the unimaginable devastation of a war on a scale that was unimaginable, and the beginning of a flu epidemic that would take millions more lives. Luckily for us, artists continue to do this. And I found a quote last week by the novelist Salman Rushdie, who said, "A poem cannot stop a bullet. A novel can't defuse a bomb, but we are not helpless. We can sing the truth and name the liars. We must tell better stories than the tyrants. There are some who read Sarah Teasdale's poem and think it is about the annihilation of humanity, but I read it another way. To me, it is about the miraculous relentlessness of nature, the way that seeds will blow 1,000,000 miles across the globe and bring completely unknown growth to a new place, or the way that 8 surviving animals will eventually lead to the resurgence of their species. The way that, despite humanity's countless errors, nature persists. In this context, the plants, the insects, the animals, and the air are unconcerned with our politics, our arguments, and the stresses that weigh us down. Life will find a way to persist. Sarah Teasdale wrote, "There will come soft rains and the smell of the ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound, and frogs in the pools singing at night, and wild plum trees in tremulous white. Robins will wear their feathery fire, whistling their whims on a low fence wire. And not one will know of the war. Not one will care at last when it is done. Not one would mind neither bird nor tree if mankind perished utterly. And spring herself, when she woke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone."
Spring I'm Michaela Sievers, and my pronouns are she and her. In these next moments together, I invite us to share the joys and sorrows on our hearts and minds. We are interconnected and interdependent. I invite those of us on Zoom to add joys or concerns into the chat now, and I will read them aloud in a moment. As each joy, concern, or sorrow is shared, we place a stone in our sacred waters, shared and blessed by our beloved community. Each of our individual experiences extends outward, influencing everyone. May we hold all these joys and concerns in our hearts and offer love and support for each sharing today. We place one last stone for the joys and concerns that remain in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. Even in this silence, we are connected. In our Boulder community today, it's 5 years since 10 people were killed in the shooting at the Table Mesa King Soopers. There will be a Boulder Strong Day of Remembrance gathering, free and open to the public, from 4 o'clock to 4:30 today at the Museum of Boulder. We pay attention to the violence, hate, and war. Each instance matters for the pain and suffering across the world, in Palestine, Ukraine, Sudan, and Iran, and right here, the land of the free. There is danger for anyone who is different. Our immigrant, transgender, and non-binary neighbors and friends are being targeted especially right now. Many people of various identities, but we're all the same. Our community, our country, and our world, we're one. Each ripple and wave affects us all. Each joy and sorrow, and each season of our lives. With our attention, we share and trust. We know and we are known. Deep in our connections, we depend on each other. We carry the dark, the hurt, the cold of winter, and those sorrows with and for each other. We are not alone. And we change and grow. With the seasons celebrating the turning of spring, light, and joy, we hold it all. We are one people holding everything, and we have each other. I invite you to do what feels comfortable for you now, whether that's to stay silent and meditate, or reach out to one another. And I'll invite you to stay seated for our pastoral hymn, which Emily will lead.
I am looking for shelter in a friend. We can build a beginning, but I do not know the end. I am
Good morning. I have to tell you, this is the first time I've done this. I'm a little nervous, a lot nervous. I really appreciate your support. Thank you. That's a little sport. My name is Ariel Lehman, and my pronouns are she and her. I want to start with a poem I wrote many years ago when I was in the thrust of a lot of problems. I call it Stormy Night. As light departed for night, and I lay restless abed, I felt my captaincy roiling, awakening in a storm-tossed sea. Stay present, I told myself. You can overcome this. Wave followed wave. I felt like Odysseus. If I succumbed to sleep, letting conscious control go, I felt I'd be swept overboard. Instead, I took up my oars and I rowed. Determined to meet each challenge and succeed, I brought forth stamina, courage, faith, and perseverance. Fodder for my feed. Waves challenging me from all directions, I wondered how long before I'll be free. After what seemed like forever, I called for help. Swiftly felt it come. The forces abated and calm returned, and I slept. My captaincy, I felt, had been fated. Now I read this poem to give you a background for what comes next. Many years ago in my 30s, I studied with a shaman, a Basque shaman named Angeles Arian. Some of you may know the name. I studied with her for 4 years, and I went on many vision quests with her. One of the vision quests that I went on took place in the California forest on 40 acres. During that time, after listening to this stormy night, I was really looking for direction in my life, especially after the years of turbulent and emotional waves I experienced that I couldn't yet make sense of. So on the quest, my partner and I created a medicine wheel before heading out into the 40 acres of forest, a grounding ritual we returned to each of the 3 days we spent alone. On the final day, I was sitting beneath 4 pine trees whose branches formed a kind of a canopy over me. Sunlight was pouring through, and sitting in that stillness, the following song came to me. It was a power song. When we gathered as a group to share our experiences, I sang it. Afterwards, Angeles asked me to sing it again. I've carried that song with me ever since, especially in moments when I felt powerless. And I'd love to sing it for you now, because in many ways, it's the song that eventually brought me here, to this fellowship, to this community, to a sense of belonging. New growth comes from your fallen dreams. Feel the joy that connection brings. The seeds were hidden, or so it seems, brought to life through remembering. Born when the raindrops had ceased to fall, brought forth to serve, I answered the call. In dreams, the whale song breached my wall. Touch your essence and you'll stand tall. New growth comes from your fallen dreams. Feel the joy that connection brings. The seeds were hidden, or so it seems, brought to life through remembering. Fly with the raven as she makes her rounds, moving through the edges, she makes no sounds, carrying the wishes of princes and clowns. Her job as messenger knows no bounds. New growth comes from your fallen dreams. Feel the joy that connection brings. The seeds were hidden, or so it seems, brought to life through remembering. And I have to tell you, thank you so much, really. I have to tell you that I really, really enjoy being in this fellowship that has given me an opportunity to really sing this and be here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy Austin. I use she, her pronouns. And I was asked to give a pledge testimonial. So I thought, well, why do we pledge, my husband, Paul, and I? And I thought, well, because this is my home. Ever since I came 9 years ago, very broken at the time, if you remember what happened in the fall of 2016, I came here and I found a place that was incredibly welcoming. It was warm, full of music and hugs, and there was good coffee. And so my relationship with this place has grown deeper and deeper through all of these years. We found ourselves on December 30th of 2021, watching on television as our house burned to the ground, along with a couple of other families from our fellowship and about 1,000 others. And that made me love this place even more, because really and truly this was the only place that felt like home to me at the time. So now we're in our new home, and it's fine. No, it's nice. But this place will always also be my home. And I thought, well, how is a home? What is that metaphor for pledging? Well, at our house, I'm sure at your house too, we pay our bills. Paul pays our bills. We pay, for our electricity and for water and for food. We pay for some entertainment. We pay for things when we bring people over to enjoy a meal or some games with us, because that's what you do to keep your home running, not only for yourselves, but for those who may come and need some kind of an additional home. So we're at a new chapter in BVUUF with our search for, our new minister. And we are short on our pledge right now. On our pledge, we're only about 80% of what we need to be. It's a difficult place to be in any year, but also it's very difficult as we negotiate with a new pastor to come here to not have the kind of participation that we generally have always had. So it also can, you have to tell the truth. I mean, if you don't pay your cable bill, there's no more cable. And, if you run out of money, then you have to drink, regular coffee that comes pre-ground in a can instead of your Nespresso or your fresh beans. So there are things here that, if we don't make those numbers, could be cut. And some of them are, maybe they look like they're additional, like the music program, but I think you'd agree that our music program is integral to what this congregation is and what we offer to people. Thank you. Thank you. So I'd like you to think about your pledge. Your pledge is your own personal amount, and whatever it is that you can give. But if you can give something, And I think we can all give something. So I'd like you to consider that, and please turn in a pledge over the next few days so that we can get up to that 100% mark. Thank you. And speaking of giving, each week we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and this community by giving half of our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Today, in honor of World Water Day, our half plate is for the Middle East Children's Alliance, MECA, which is a nonprofit organization working for the rights and well-being of children in the Middle East. MECA supports dozens of community projects for Palestinian children and refugees from Syria, including water projects. Since 1988, MECA has delivered $42 million in food and medical aid to Palestine, Iraq, and Lebanon. In September 2009, MECA launched the Maya Project, Arabic for water, to provide Palestinian children with safe drinking water. Despite the difficulties of working in a war zone, the Maya Project continues to provide drinking water for thousands of Palestinian children by repairing and maintaining those water purification and desalination units which remain in the Gaza Strip. You can text your donation to the number on the screen or place a donation in the offering plate as it passes. Thank you for giving as generously as you can, as you so often do. For the work of the fellowship, bringing love, reason, compassion, and justice to this world, and for the Middle East Children's Alliance, we dedicate our offerings.
The year is 1174. Most people in the Rhine River Valley of Germany are illiterate and don't live past their 30s. However, at 76, Hildegard of Bingen, poet, painter, healer, composer, philosopher, mystic, nun, and medical writer, has just finished writing and illustrating her third book, the Book of Divine Works, chronicling 7 years of prophetic visions. Hildegard first began hearing what she called the voice of the living light when she was 3. Yet she still considered herself a totally uneducated human being, merely a channel for divine wisdom. She preached that God is reason, and reason is the root, but also that from the heart comes healing, and that we understand the world and its wisdom most clearly through the intuitions of our inner eye and inner ear, an inner voice calling each of us to become all that we are. She taught that this unification of mind and spirit is our life's wish, or what she referred to as our whole-making instinct. In the Book of Divine Works, Hildegard writes about birds and trees and stones and stars, the nature of eternity, the fundamental elements of love, and she conceptualizes something we won't even have a word for another 7 centuries: ecology. The word she chose for this was viriditas, from the Latin root for green. A greening life force pervading the world, mirrored in the virtues that enrich the human soul. Hildegard's concept of viriditas, or this greening power, is a 12th century theological and ecological vision defining divinity as the vital, vibrant, juicy, and creative force animating nature, humanity, and spirituality. It signifies constant renewal, growth, and divine life energy, essentially viewing nature as a mirror for God. In Hildegard's writing, viriditas represents the physical and spiritual greenness that acts as a driving force for healing and wholeness in all living things. She believed that plants and trees contain a greening life force, which modern writers compare to photosynthesis, that connects the physical world to the divine presence. Hildegard believed that there was only one true sin, the drying up of our spirits that occurs when we lack compassion for others. Vitality, creativity, and staying juicy are spiritual virtues. Yes, it's all like tied into like moisture and this juicy like vibrancy. She believed in what is referred to as an enchanted ecology, arguing that humans have a spiritual duty to steward the Earth's life force, making it an early form of environmental theology. Hildegard wrote that this life force is a living and fiery essence that glows in the beauty of the fields. She wrote, "I shine in the water, I burn in the sun and the moon and the stars. I am the breath of all the living. The soul is to the body as the sap is to the tree, and the soul's energy unfolds as the tree unfolds. The soul provides the inner solidity and strength of the body." Human beings, she writes, are co-creators with the divine in all the unfolding of nature. We must cooperate with one another in the task of protecting and nourishing this interconnected creation. And we must do so by integrating the rational and the intuitive inside each one of us. In one of her visions, she even paints a very menacing picture of what will happen to the world if we grow disconnected from the greening life force inside of our own souls. Check this out. "Then the greening power of the virtues faded away, and all justice entered upon a period of decline. As a result, the greening power of life on Earth was reduced in every seed because the upper region of the air was altered in a way contrary to its first destiny. Summer now became subject to a contradictory chill, while winter often experienced a paradoxical warmth. 70 degrees in winter, anyone? There occurred on Earth times of drought and dampness. She wrote this in 1174. I know. She was unambiguous also about what stands between us and this fate. If we give up the green vitality of our virtues and surrender to the drought of our inaction so that we do not have the sap of life and the greening power of good deeds, then the power of our very soul will begin to fade and dry up. Hildegard believed in the green vitality of human consciousness and believed that the soul knows what is good and what is harmful. And so by integrating our rational faculty with our heart's intuition, and by refusing to dishonor our own souls, we have within us the power to revive the earth. And in what may be the clearest, most succinct manifesto for climate action, she writes, "Our thinking affects our greening power. The soul is the green life force of the flesh. When we humans work in accord with the strivings of our soul, all our deeds turn out well." Maria Popova writes that this is the beating heart of Hildegard's Viriditas, the insistence that the stewardship of Earth's life force is not merely our moral obligation to the universe, but our spiritual duty to our own souls. In this moment of upheaval, a lot of people are asking, what is the most important action I can take to be of service? And I think that Hildegard would tell us that our obligation is to fight for the preservation of our own souls. And because every act of injustice is intertwined, the most important thing we can do is anything. We must use the power of our spirits to join the collective force of good. It is our responsibility to the divine within us to be in cooperation with the forces of vitality and hope and all that is good on earth. Let us rise in body or in spirit and sing Rising Green. You're very welcome. My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. Her sap doth run in my veins. Oh, bless my soul like the open sky, where the stars forever that reign. extinguish our chalice. As Spencer extinguishes the chalice, please join us in saying our words together. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again.
And now, if you feel comfortable, please reach out and connect with those around you. Link arms, elbows. As I have a benedictory poem of springtime. This is written by George A. Tiger. O power of springtime, spirit of green grasses and warm breezes, goddess of creativity, of birth, of life renewed, you sing all about us at this time. The birds call your sacred name, buds burst forth with your vestment. The sun reaches higher into the sky, shining the light of this new day through the windows of your cathedral, this world. O power of springtime, forgive us our speediness and our racing before your eternal grace, that we do not see the miracle world that we share. Open our eyes with your warmth and our hearts with your beauty. Slow our minds with awe and wonder. Dear spirit of green grasses and warm breezes, let us find here in these moments of quiet the grace of your breath as we breathe into our bodies the spirit of spring. Let's take one breath together. May it be so. And I believe we have some... Kelly.
Hi. Hi, all. We got two more things. We got announcements and then a great song at the end. So I'm Kelly Lojadice, she, her pronouns, and I'm from the Committee on Shared Ministries. I have two announcements. We're excited to bring the practice of listening circles to our fellowship starting today. This is an opportunity to speak and listen with deep respect and share about how you have been impacted by our interim time and by Reverend Barber's negotiated resignation. We hope that each of you has an opportunity to attend a circle, and leading the circles will be a member from the COSM Committee on Shared Ministry, the Right Relationship Team, the Board and Transition Team. They will all be listening to you. Sign up at the link in the chat or at this QR code. And if you are often at the fellowship, please join Bob Browdis for a presentation and discussion of the procedure to follow if Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, arrives at the fellowship. Presentation is tomorrow, Monday, at 7 o'clock in the fellowship hall. Since we'll be walking around the building, it's only in person, and if you can't come and want to learn more, please contact Bob. We'll have a second session if there's enough interest.